Hello and welcome to episode 41 of our Timberborn Update 6 Waterbeavers playthrough. Cycle 46, Day 3. Last time, we got some small fixes taken care of, medium fixes taken care of, big fixes discussed but not quite implemented, and of course there's still plenty to do. But today, a little bit more of the same with hopefully some permanent changes that will solve our water and other nagging problems once and for all. But it will just take time. We're going to do our best, but it is going to take quite a while. So let's get right on with it. First, by going over here to the district in the corn, which some of you have said remove the, or the, whatever you want to say, and just name it district in the corner. Some of you like this, so, let me know if you want me to actually change this. I think it's kind of funny to just, have it be the district in the corn. But if enough people want that changed, I will change it. But this district does not have enough water. And I don't want to add a third water pump because that would add additional population, which technically we could use. But I think I would much rather just put in a pump upgrade, which, yes, the deep water pump upgrade does cost more stuff, but it's going to give us more water per hour with minimal beaver involvement. We could, just make a normal water pump upgrade if these were normal water pumps, but I made this decision. I've got to, own it up, so that's what we'll do. We'll get this built eventually, and they'll get that all taken care of. Now, we also had an issue. Get this triple speed through the rest of the night here. We also had an issue with, having too much water coming here too early because I opened this floodgate when it wasn't quite finished over here. And while that won't be a problem ever again because, we built all this up, I did get a good idea from you guys in the comments on how to prevent that from even being a possible problem in the first place, and that is to add another one of these water cannons somewhere over here to keep this filled up, which would allow us to have the floodgate dam completely closed at all times. And I like that idea. I think I'd like to do it. So, we have all these water cannons. I only have the 30-degree one unlocked, and it will do the job if I can just figure out exactly where I'd like to place this. So, because of how this is set up, I think it's going to be easiest and least annoying to just pop this guy right here, which will allow us to also place additional water wheels directly connected to it without disrupting everything else we've got going on here. So, since this keeps coming up like many times in the comments, this water wheel doesn't require a blueprint. You're thinking of the large water wheel, which we have not unlocked, which, does produce more power. But for right now, these normal ones are just fine. So just so everyone's on the same page, we don't need blueprints to do these, but I do appreciate you guys looking out for that and make sure we're not going to run out of something that we can't easily replace. So they're going to, get this done at some point. We do need to make sure this is set to only clean water. And I do need to have additional water wheels put in here so everything can get connected. This will give us another, I don't know, about 350-ish HP if the same stuff is going to be, going through here. And that will help us out a little bit. Now, I know that this water wheel is probably not going to turn very well if the water cannon gets put in here because this does, block the flow a little bit. I don't know if it displaces water like the other things do. We should probably check that out. It actually doesn't say it's a levee, so maybe it won't matter at all. I guess we'll see. See what happens. Since we're over here in District 2, or better known as Downriver, it has been brought to my attention that this district needs about 5 to 10 additional jobs, and we do have, or not additional jobs, additional beavers to fill those jobs, and we have 2 free beds and 4 kits. So technically we're about even right now, but it's not a terrible idea for us to increase the population just a little bit over here. But we need to make sure we don't add production jobs that aren't necessary. So, I've got this triple watertight lodge here that serves as a place for haulers to work at. I have a florist, which is currently making lotus flowers, or attempting to, at the very least. And then I also have this cooking house here, and these are all good and necessary functions, but we're not really using all of the worker spots here. We're only using 2 out of the 5. And to be perfectly honest with you, we have this forestry hauling upgrade that isn't fully staffed either. So honestly, I'm kind of tempted to just say, you know what? Let's go down to 1 hauler here, try to get them into this thing, anyway because this gives a 200% carrying capacity boost. And this one does as well, but this one also grants a bonus to movement speed. Which, hey, this one doesn't do that. So why not just channel them in there, make this the lowest possible priority job, and that will help, not eliminate, but will help solve some of that issue. We also have this manual pump here that is housing beavers, but they're not working here because I have this super deprioritized because we have the mechanized water pumps, which leads into the next major issue that has been kind of plaguing us this whole time. I'm going to hide these blueprints because I can't see half the screen, and also these things, but we have, quite frankly, an absurd quantity of mechanized water pumps, which, hey, that's great. We don't have to have all of these manual pumps populated and increasing our population and all that stuff. But they take planks, and for a very long time we weren't making planks. We might not be making planks still, because we didn't have crude saw blades. Now this one has just now started operating again, and these guys cannot make more crude saw blades until they get more scrap metal. And this has been a recurring issue. Like, we have primitive smelters here that don't have enough stuff. Not enough iron ore. And this doesn't have enough iron ore because it doesn't have drill bits, and we don't have drill bits because so on and so forth. These guys can't make it because they don't have scrap metal. All of your problems ever are because you're not drinking enough water. I told you guys about that last episode. All of our problems ever in this playthrough are because we don't have enough scrap metal, which we have attempted to fix, have started the process, but this is still not going to cut it, even just these 4 primitive smelters. But before we worry about building more primitive smelters, we just have to have iron ore. This medium mine is currently supposed to be gathering iron ore. It is full on the output. This mine is gathering iron ore. It is full at the output. This storage for iron ore is full. What's happening to all of the iron ore, and why is it not being used or imported into this district? Well, let's take a look. The district crossing has an absolute glut of stuff in it, and none of it is iron ore. So let's check distribution. There's so much stuff to keep up with here. It's honestly really hard, but I'm going to do my best to look through all this. We need to have iron ore, and I don't even know where it's organized on this chart. I'd have to assume somewhere. Okay, it's probably in here. Ah, it's disallowed from importing. Let's fix that and just import as needed, and that should help these guys get fired up. That was such a weird oversight. I don't know why I never thought to check this before, but hopefully that solves the problem, or at least kind of solves the problem. We will import coal if needed. I don't think we need to worry about it. In fact, you know, I know we don't need to worry about it because this still has a bunch of storage. I'm not going to turn this on. Maybe I'll come to regret that. But having the iron ore import as needed should help solve that problem. It won't definitively solve it, but it's not going to make it worse. So hopefully that helps us get all of this taken care of to some degree. We won't see benefits from that until the next day, of course. So triple speed through the night here. I need to get my bearings again. Okay, these guys right here, these cooking tents, are prioritized by haulers, but they don't have to have workers, so we need to make sure these are deprioritized. I neglected to do that previously, so we will check these guys again. This one also needs to be deprioritized, and then prioritized for haulers. There we go. Again, just small things that I keep missing, and you guys are kind enough to bring up. I always appreciate it. Clay pots-wise, this also can function without workers. I'm just going to, you know, super deprioritize it. We don't need that many more clay pots. I'm not going to worry about building storage for it. So that should help us out, just a touch. Now, one of the other major issues, and one I've been putting off for a very long time, is I haven't been wanting to use these manual pumps or keep the automatic pumps enabled during droughts because I was afraid of draining this. And the obvious solution for a very long time has been, well, just dam this up. There's no reason to have whatever, but I was worried about not having enough rice. So the time has come for us to just say, you know what, forget it. We have to do what we have to do, and that's it. So easiest thing for us to do is going to be taking these 2x5 out. We can keep the rest of this rice. They can still go through, but I'm going to replace this path with a pass-through lodge, and then something else, maybe one of those primitive dams probably would make the most sense. So that is something primitive dam-wise, I think it's going to make the most sense for us to... Actually, I should have maybe done this slightly differently. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. I'm gonna take this additional row out for the primitive dam, and then this can be where all that other stuff goes. It's just one of those things I should have done a long time ago, kept putting off, and now there's literally no reason not to be doing this. So we will do what we have to do, and then move on from there. We do have to get the rest of this taken out so I can move the path. But we're making progress. That is what I know how to do. Usually. Let's get these guys out of here. Grab the rest of that. Get started on that mess. And then, now that this is taken care of, let's just move this path all the way over to here. Again, not really a huge compelling reason for moving the entire path outside of I just think it looks better. And this will, of course, require that we disconnect here, but they still have this other route to get around, so that's not going to be an issue. Pass-through lodge, one of the best buildings in the game. Right like so. And then, if we really want to take advantage of all of our spaces here, then it's going to become necessary at this point in time to put in some platforms here, reroute this path to here, and then I can get back, I don't know, like 5 or 6, maybe 7 squares. And that's going to help us out tremendously. Now let's plant some additional rice. If not all of the rice is under threat of... oh, I forgot I had that thing planted. Oh, they can't reach that, so that's not going to matter. Wait, I got rid of that and the thing went away. Okay, well that's not in range. Okay, also not in range. Alright, what's the range on this thing again? Oh, man, I hate it when this happens. Now I'm gonna have to think. I know. Tall order sometimes. Forget it. I'll just put it right here. It's alright. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. We might want to think about, as we get some more dirt, maybe starting to fill in some of these places that are kind of accessible and would be helpful to have more complete terrain available. But for right now, this is going to help solve so many problems. And then I can just have these things running all the time. So, a whole lot of you guys are really... I try very hard to understand people's perspectives on stuff. And I know to like a certain degree I'm super wrong about this, but I can't shake the feeling that having the beavers in all of these pumps is a terrible idea for population control. And I know we need more beavers, but more beavers means that we have to have more beavers to feed and make sure they have water and all that stuff. So I really don't want to turn on the pump buildings themselves. But the upgrades don't increase the population. They just give us jobs that, don't consume planks. And I know there's still a big deficit, but we're working on it. We're trying our best, and that's what matters. Sometimes that's all you can do. Your definition of best may be different from mine, and maybe slightly more logical, and that is okay as well. So, of course, this needs planks. Everything needs planks. Do I have beavers working here? I do, and I don't think I need to have... Okay, I do need to have more screw press axles. Are these all making screw press? Ah, that's making sawdust, which we don't need. Congratulations, you're now making planks, even though it's super slow. So, that'll help a tiny bit. Just a little bit. Now, this says it doesn't have... Oh, the warehouse. No, really? This doesn't connect? Alright, what's up with that? What's up with that? Did I... Ah, because this has... okay, I can't click on the path. But this doesn't connect to that. What a shame. This warehouse is now going to have to go away. And... Wait, actually, you know what? If I just rotate... Wait, that said it connected, but then it wasn't... Alright, whatever. I'm not going to argue with the game any more than I already do. We're just going to put this here. That was storing... I actually don't remember what was stored in there. Well, that's a problem. See, I was making this. Was it for clay storage? because that's for glowing fluid. I'm just going to assume this was clay storage and put it back there. It probably wasn't. I know. You guys can rewind. Do people even use that term anymore? You guys can rewind 20 seconds or so and see what that was when I clicked on it. But I can't because I'm playing live, so I won't find out until I go back to edit the video. But I digress. Moving on. There's been calls for us to have additional pumpkins, and I agree that that is the smart choice. I just have to have somewhere to put them. And I think probably the easier thing to do is going to be for us to put in additional levees here to help keep the nasty water further away and give us more growable land. Then I can plant more pumpkins in this space. But you already know what I'm going to say. You already know. I don't even have to say it. Placing 2 levees here and 1 levee here is going to help us out tremendously. They don't currently have access to this, which is a problem we can solve kind of simply by putting in a few platforms here that'll grant them access without having to get down in the nasty water. I don't think there's a mechanism for them to do that. Anyway, so how are we looking here? Okay, waiting on predictable things like metal fasteners, because you can never have too many metal fasteners. And in our case, we can never have enough because guess why? No scrap metal. So it's been like a day and a half, 2 days. How are we looking over here? Still not enough iron ore. Although this one does have some more in it. Some ore? Huh? Get it? Okay, I'm going to stop now before somebody hunts me for sport. But let's see if we're at least importing. No. So part of that is also due to only having 4 beavers on this side of the district crossing. That certainly is not helping. But at the same time, I don't really have a whole lot more beavers I can give to this cause, and you already know what I'm going to say. Let me take a drink of water real quick. Very thirsty, but time marches on. We have these balloons paused because I did not want to keep using metal blocks or methane. Didn't really have methane to use in the first place. And the strong alcohol production was becoming a problem. But now we actually have a decent amount of strong alcohol because we were harvesting some chestnuts from here. And the fireflies, unfortunately, have stopped producing. I say fireflies as in plural, but this is just the one right now. We're not using the glowing fluid really that much yet. But since this has been built, we're starting to consume it. So we need to, resume that production if we can. Which means this polar beavers trade has to be resumed. And we have to examine how much strong alcohol we're actually consuming. Now this is 25 every 3 days. We know we have no problem making that. But the chestnut beer here is our limiting factor, which, this is... Now that we have chestnuts chugging along... Get it? Chugging, because it's chestnut. Anyway, I'm on a roll today. We're just going to say, you know what? This is fine. Everything's good, but the water production is severely being affected by this because, it's all going to make beer, and the beavers have to drink something that is not beer, or else you're just going to have drunk beavers everywhere. So we don't want that. I don't, at least. So little things like having this water cannon installed so we don't have to, micromanage this, and then getting this pump upgrade installed, even though it's the more expensive one, and I don't know, I probably should have just built the cheap one. Who cares? Little things. We'll get there. It's going to be all right. Other things we've discussed many times. I really want to put a water cannon into one of these things here, and it's because of the geography with this. It's going to require that I have one of these water cannons all the way down here. Yes, this will work. You can see where the green flag, well, it's technically blue, but in the highlight, in this case, it's green. I can have one of these here. I just have to power it. And power currently is very far away. But it is something we can do without having to, exploit some sort of chain mechanism or having one shooting into the other, which shoots into the other, and all that other stuff. We'll get there. I don't have to say the second half of that sentence because you already know how it's going to go. Alright, producing scrap metal. It does take almost 2 days, a day and 2/3 to get this done, but it is progressing, and we are slowly bringing iron ore in place. Still no drill bits because, you know, we don't have the scrap metal to make the drill bits that we use to excavate the stuff to make the scrap metal. So, wait a second. We're making a drill bit as we speak. I stand thoroughly corrected. How's progress over here? Abysmal. Great. Metal fasteners once again rearing their ugly heads. Everything else is looking really good. It's only day 6. Once we have at least one full batch of scrap metal from these guys, we're going to be in a much better space. And I think we will have a whole lot to celebrate. But until that point, we need to make more scrap metal. I don't know why I just thought of JFK at this exact moment, but probably my cadence in that. Hey, there's stuff on the... Come get your stuff off the ground. Come on, man. Come on, let's go. Thank you again, mute button, for dealing with coughing and sneezing noises. We have dynamite over here that is being installed so that we can remove the hill and then have plenty of additional space with which to grow brambles, which I currently have removed. But I figured that was okay because we're producing... Is it still not connected to... Look at this. It's connected to the path. What gives, dude? Come on. Get your life together. Alright, I just have to assume at this point that this is bugged or was never intended in the first place, and I'm just going to move on. But this is going to end up being... Oh, it was a warehouse, it wasn't a pile. I'm just going to put some clay there and be done with it. So, bramble flowers, do your thing. Of course it needs water. Of course we don't have enough water because we aren't pumping fast enough. We've been through this. It's fine. Gonna be okay. So other stuff that's on the list, because boy, do you guys always have a whole lot of helpful comments, and I regret that I can't always address every comment in every episode. But I think there's one more thing I forgot to do, and that is to prioritize the iron ore drill by haulers, which I had not done. So, you know, once this does start making iron ore, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. So where does that leave us now? These primitive smelters, as we've discussed, function without workers, so as long as we have the materials to supply them, which we do, technically, we can build as many of these as we want without consequence. We just have to have somewhere to place them. Because they are second-story entrances, that's why they're up here, and I don't want to put them here because we're going to have the abyss stuff at some point. Because they're second-story entrances, they present a little bit of a challenge when trying to plan things out, as if I've actually ever planned anything in my life. But there are a few places where we can, you know, just kind of shove a few of these and not worry about it for most of the rest of time. It's not going to look super great. It's going to be ugly, but what's that, that SpongeBob thing? It's like, I'm ugly and I'm proud. Well, you know how this goes. Minimum priority workplace. Stick a path in. Again, it is not a great place for it, but it's fine. It's gonna work. See, I don't have a great spot in here for this. And I don't want to build here. Now, if I blasted this out a little bit, I know dynamite is kind of a hot commodity right now, so I'm not going to do it yet, but if I blasted this piece out here, I would be able to fit in several of these guys. How is this rotated like that? Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. I'll put a couple of these guys here, blast that out, and then have a pretty easy access. In fact, you know what? They'll build everything in due time anyway. Why don't we just do one of these? I guess I could just do regular path there. Eventually, I will have another one here, and then I don't even have to worry about blasting this one out because I can just build stairs. And then put one more here. Without obstructing the underground ruins, which means we're going to be able to... That's the wrong thing. Going to be able to put one of these elevators to the abyss with all of its extensions at some point. You already know. I don't even have to say it. I've got you guys trained pretty well in that regard. Have we marked the domesticated brambles for cutting? No, we have not. I would like to apologize to every single person that has mentioned this in the last several videos because I was like, oh, no, we definitely did that. But that misclick again. I had not marked these. That is also the wrong button. Good job. What a blunder! But now it's fixed. And it will be expanded upon. But anyway, enough of that. We can just move about our business here. Okay, we still got iron ore coming out here. We don't have coal because I'm not mining coal in this district, but that's fine. 65%, 0% waiting on iron ore, but we have some coming in. Have some coming in. It should, hopefully. Like, I never see it in here, but maybe that's just because they're bringing it out quickly. Come on, drill bits. Come on, drill bits. Come on, drill bits. How are we doing? How are we doing on our drill bits? 65% of the way done. Okay. Now, I have a drill bit. Where's the drill bit? I've got 2 in here. I wish they could just share these. That would be great. There's not one in inventory here? No. I don't need insect larvae either. I probably need to, you know, do something else about that. Metal fasteners. Why am I not surprised? How are we doing here? Still waiting on metal fasteners. Yep. But there's only 3 left here. And this one needs all 12, which... unfortunate. But it is what it is. Let's take this out. And then I will be able to actually build. You don't build rice. You plant it and it grows. But we'll get those guys to take this out of here and move on with our lives. Is there any way I can optimize this pathing? I don't think so. Yeah, because I have to have a path to get back over here to the Gatherer Flags. I really don't need 4 of these. I'm going to minimum prioritize 2 of them. Send those beavers off to other things, but I'm going to keep 2 of those moving along. Yeah, just trying to find, you know, simple ways to solve problems as best as we can. That's going to give me a whole 5 additional rice, but hey, every little grain of rice matters when you're trying to keep up with a billion other things. What kind of range do we have on this still? Okay, I've got a little bit more I can pop here, and I guess that's going to have to be good enough for now. Oh. You know what? No shame. I'm going to do it. I'm going to plant our little rice over here. Because it is space that can be utilized, and we do actually need it. So you know how this goes. We'll just have to keep on checking. How are we looking? We finished the drill bit. Please tell me it went to this one. No, it did not. It also didn't go to this one. So where's my drill bit? Where's my drill bit? Who's got the drill bit? You have the drill bit. Where are you going? Which one are you taking it to? There is a wrong answer. You have made the correct choice. Thank you so much. Now we can finally get more iron. Oh boy. So our long national nightmare should be at its end at some point soon. Yep, things are looking good here. We've got bramble flowers coming in, and I know at the very beginning of this I said we're going to solve our water problems once and for all. Well, part of that is including, you know, just producing more planks, which, if you recall, we weren't doing because we didn't have crude saw blades, but now that we have crude saw blades, well, some, we can kind of keep the dream alive, so to speak. You already know how this goes. Food is looking good. Obviously could be looking a whole lot better, but it will gradually improve as we get everything else managed here. I do have, I believe, one of these cooking tents that's supposed to be making the pumpkin chips. We have full storage of pumpkins and not much else. We do have the salt. So let's take a look-see about what might be happening here. No available workers. Well, that's not a big deal because it can function without them. We just have to have the materials. And it seems like the pumpkins aren't being brought forth, despite being right here in the large farmhouse. So I think this is a hauler problem. I've got 10 here, 10 here, and 2 here. And I know I do have some of these that are hauler segments. Yeah, the 2 workers there. That's builders. I have that minimized. Let's see. 2 more there. So, yeah, we have like 30-ish hauler beavers. That's not nothing. For a population of almost 400, it kind of it's a little low. But stuff is happening. Like, we shouldn't be sitting here and pretending that nothing's happening. All right, 8 more metal fasteners. Again, the scrap metal is really going to help as soon as that gets taken care of. Let me consult my list here. We still haven't increased the population of the Downriver District yet. But you will note that we are down to, well, now it's 6 vacancies. We can kind of help that out by strategically reducing other jobs. I know I have 6 here in the hauling upgrade, and that's fine. That's probably honestly okay. Does the lumberjack barn really need to have 4 beavers in it? Honestly, probably not. I'm going to take them down to 3. That'll help a tiny bit. Once all of this scrap metal is harvested, this scavenger flag can be paused. We don't need it. Gatherer flag is currently an important thing. Just lots and lots of little things that we haven't really been managing too well that we will get better at managing as time goes by. Planks are obviously still a very big problem. We've discussed this at great length. That sawmill probably needs help. But this is a paper mill. I forgot where my other sawmill is. Is it right here? Yes. I mean, hey, it's making planks. We just had too much sawdust. It was stopping things up. I have a sawdust thing right here. It's 172. It's just not being used. So that definitely was not being helped by us just creating straight up sawdust. But we already fixed that. We can't really lean on that as a solution anymore. Sawdust must be used. So, since we have a lot, I'm not going to convert probably more than one of these, but I'm going to have to find one of these that's at 0 and turn it to fast mode so we can start using some of the sawdust. And the mushroom growers. Oh, I know, there's at least a few of you who get really irritated when I don't fix these. So I'm going to try in this exact moment to solve those problems. Or at least try to fix them. Make sure these are all prioritized by haulers and deprioritized for workers. And it looks like that is the case for these at the very least. The GMO growing lab can also function without workers. So guess what? Same story. We just have to have clay. Where's the clay? Well, I only have 3 because we keep using it to make other stuff. And I have a single, I think. Yeah, I've got one of these guys making clay. And, you know, they're going to town on it, but the clay is going somewhere. Let's find out. We have 5 buildings globally using clay. 3 of these alchemists for making basic balm, which we do need. The GMO growing lab making bramble flowers, which we do need. And then we also have the wood burner making the clay pots, which we don't need. But this also isn't actively consuming, it's just holding 20 clay. So this isn't a problem. But the consumption of these guys probably is. Theoretically, each one of these on full load is going to use 1 clay per hour. And I have 3 of these, so that's 3 clay per hour. How much is this guy producing? It's not 3 clay per hour, it's 1 clay per hour. So, definitely not helping. How many clay pits do I have? I have 2. One of them is panning for gold. Which, hooray. But now it's making clay. What are you going to do with all that dirt? I don't know. We're going to have to figure something out. I got 815 of it, and it has to go somewhere. So we will need to either build another clay pit, or we'll need to decrease the consumption. Do we really need to have 3 of these alchemists making basic balm? Probably not. But it is what it is. The rest of the ingredients really aren't coming in tremendously fast anyhow. Although we do have enough to make stuff. It's just this one's waiting on water, which, you know, who or what isn't waiting on water at this point? We'll build another clay pit, just because it's a good idea to have more of those anyway. I can never remember where it is. In basic? Yeah, there we go. So this has to be in clean water, which does limit where we can place it. but is also not really that big of a deal. I just have to maybe do a little bit of planning to make this a viable thing. So I can put one here if I put in some platforms. It's not really a great place for it, sure, but it's what's going to work. So, wait, never mind, it's ground only. Disregard. Okay, we're not using these deep water pumps, and we're probably not going to, but I'd rather delete these normal water pumps instead. So, that will be gone. This does, unfortunately, have the scrambled crappy platform instead of having one of the, actual dirt blocks. So I'm going to attempt to see if I can put a clay pit on top of a levee, which it should work. Survey says no. So, instead of, going through all this nonsense, the easiest solution is going to be to just pop it right there. And all of these different things on the ground will help us get a few more things accomplished, and we'll move on from there. Now, since I did delete the suboptimal water pumps and their upgrade, I did, in effect, reduce the amount of water that can be pumped. And because we need to expand our population anyway, I'm going to open up these 2 deep water pumps just so that the water production isn't offset, or rather, isn't negatively offset. And we can start making some more beaver babies, but we can't do too many at once. It's a bad idea. Just can't do too many at once. So that will help eventually solve a lot of problems, or at least make them slightly less bad. Now, they have built these levees here, which seem to be doing, what they need to be doing. But we still have a problem, and that is this area is still polluted. Although we have gained a few tiles back, there's just not enough that has been removed in terms of the polluting water. And I think we can maybe help this out by putting in... Well, let me zoom in here. It's not going to let me place it, is it? Alright, I have to pause so I don't, lose my mind. Okay, there we go. Very weird it wouldn't let me do that before. But I mean, I can't put one here because there's no ground. This here will help. I think these 2 tiles, again, very slow process, but every little bit counts. I want to claw some of this space back and eventually blast a little bit of it out, maybe so I could plant some more pumpkins. That is the goal. This no longer has to be connected with a path because this is a separate district. So, in service of that goal, what I'm going to do is see how many pumpkins I can plant here because, well, that's what we do. I can, if I start here in this closest corner, I can put one there, I can put one there, I can put one here, but if I put one here, then I can't plant any more here, so I will instead skip that spot, put one there, and then I unfortunately cannot plant one here unless this shower is removed. However, if I remove the shower, and then I, tank shower, I put this here, problem solved. And that means I can put in one more pumpkin right there. Now, can the large farmhouse reach all of this? Yes, it can. It can't reach, these squares, but this is where the pumpkin is planted and harvested, so that's what matters. And scene. Let's go somewhere else. How are we doing here? To absolutely no one's surprise, we are missing planks. That is a problem that hopefully will be solved soon. Okay, this is producing scrap metal. Actively producing. Actively producing. These probably should be built soon, but again, we are very low on clay, so I am not surprised that has not worked. I'm going to say these are a little bit more important than most of the other stuff we're doing right now. But we do still need to, guess what? Gravity batteries take metal fasteners. We need to get these finished before we have our next drought or bad tide. But at the rate we're making metal fasteners, it's not going to happen, which is why I'm prioritizing the things that make scrap metal first. Now, we have the awnings that say we have no drill bits here, which, unfortunately, means we have no drill bits. Shocker, right? Guess what we need? It's scrap metal. It's our favorite song. If by favorite song we mean, you know, in Roller Coaster Tycoon when I can't build a path or a track piece because the roller coaster's in the way, this is our favorite song for this, and that is not a compliment. But I digress. Yeah, guess what? Metal Fastener is once again the enemy of this playthrough. Wow, I'm actually shocked we only need 2 for this. Let's super expedite this. Make sure that goes in. You might think water looks okay with 4,200 in storage, but I've been informed that that is inadequate, because we're consuming so much with our production buildings. It is what it is. But at this point, I think we've talked about everything that I wanted to directly address from the comments of the last episode. Now we just kind of have to wait. So, again, food is looking great. Obviously, some stuff could be improved, but it is, you know, all stuff that will take time. We cannot make any more explosives because we do not have nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin was not produced in that anyway. Which one was making nitroglycerin? This one. Wow, really? No logs, no saltpeter. We have logs, and we have saltpeter, so what gives? Ah! The one beaver who works here is running around doing whatever. Well, I mean, it's almost quitting time anyway, so I guess that's fine. But now this one is carrying saltpeter. Okay, that's fine. I probably should have that prioritized by haulers, but we don't have enough haulers to really effectively prioritize much of anything. I know there's all sorts of other stuff we need to take care of. I'm just a little concerned about our ability to take care of everything else. We have enough strong alcohol here. That's good. 3 days to get some frozen human meat for the terrifying fireflies. Making glowing fluid. We are going through it kind of quickly. Well, okay, it's 0.05 per hour, but that matters. Oh yeah, also we need 1 clay per hour for the GMO growing lab. Alright, this is now a very important building. Let's do that. I know I need to put another one of these in. I can't really do anything else over here. Not a lot of great spots. Because it has to be on the ground, which creates a lot of undesirable problems here. And I know we need more storage too. At least one person asked when I was going to build any more giant buried tanks. Well, I don't really have a good answer for that. I have to have somewhere to place them, which the only reason this one got built is because it was in the middle of all this storage. Which, okay, I guess some of it's being pretty nicely utilized, but I don't really have a lot of great places to put it. Hey, this is finished. Good. That means that under normal circumstances, we will never have to have another pausing of any of these pumps. So, I guess that's good. I guess that's what we wanted. How do I have an unemployed beaver? It's not this district. It's this one. Really, I'm actually kind of surprised. Well, that problem was supposed to be solved by this existing, so I'm going to pretend that that's not a real problem, because as soon as this is done, that beaver will be able to go work there. But I got to grow more rice. Need to find more space for rice. Now, the only real way to do that is to decrease the amount of paths that we have here. I don't know that there's a great way to do that. I don't think it is currently possible. If I had more dynamite, I could blow some of this up, maybe make a couple more tiles for rice. But it doesn't seem like that's going to work. There's no more here. The regular farmhouse doesn't really reach over here in any meaningful capacity. I mean, I guess I could plant a single thing of rice here, but that just seems incredibly overkill. How are we looking? I forgot to look under here. Yeah, that's still poison. I know I could put a couple here, but this butts up right against this, so it's not going to do a ton of good. Well, oh, okay, that, of course, those use clay. I kind of recklessly applied clay as a solution for that when I should have been saving it for other things. That's the way she goes. I'm going to prioritize this by haulers just because I'm sick of waiting for that to get produced. I know we got so many other things to do, but It's fine. Planks continuing to be kind of a problem, but we're hopefully going to get back to it. Almost there on some more scrap metal. Halfway and 2/3 of the way. 1/3. 40% is not 2/3, good lord. Well, it's fine. We'll get there. That's the way she goes. We're not even close on this, are we? Not even a tiny bit. What? Wait, what's this one making? Screw press axles, but it's not actually doing anything, so guess what? Now you're making planks. Because we definitely need them. In fact, let's take a look and see what all of those log gnawing stations are doing. Okay, that's for downriver district in the corn has corn. Doesn't have a single one, huh? Okay. Well, I guess I expected myself to have forgotten about a bunch of these, and that clearly was not the case, because we only have the 4. And I suppose that's fine the way it is until we get everything else a lot better situated. You already know how this goes. Gotta get that scrap metal figured out. Got to. But we do have the iron ore to bring over in this district. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Oh, this isn't prioritized. That is probably why. I know a few of you are almost certainly very tired of me being like this. I'd love to say it's going to get better, but I can't make promises. Bad tide approaching in 3 days. I'm feeling good about where we are, with the exception of the water, which I know I've said over and over and over again is something that is going to need to improve. And it will, as soon as we can make more planks or justify having more of these beavers working in here. There's so many just risks, dangers of having too many beavers working in pumps or living in pumps. And I'd have to figure out some way to balance that out. But I can't really take them away from too many more places. Minor burns are still sitting at 6, which I guess is probably, given that we have almost 400 beavers, is honestly probably fine. If I pause one of these alchemists, then I can get away with unpausing one more deep water pump. That's going to completely offset the population changes. These are normal water pumps, which we all know are a lot less efficient, and it should have been replaced with the good ones like over here. I don't have the scrap metal to do basically anything else except to wait, which is unfortunate. But we do have both of these operating again. Now that we have more dynamite, we should see these get blasted out. But I said I really needed one of these gravity batteries before we got into the next bad tide or drought, and these gravity batteries haven't even had a chance to recharge yet. So I hate to say it, but man, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to have to pause these mechanical drills, at least until the start of the bad tide, so we can have the ability for these things to recharge. They just, it takes way too long. I mean, also, we have iron ore over here, and that's what's been limiting us for all this. It's just, it's been a mess. Clay continues to be a problem. I could put one of these in here, a clay pit, but you know how it goes. Is what it is. If I pause this wood burner, the 20 clay can come right out of this, and that'll get put to good use. I know that. Just so many things require just waiting. Ah, they can't reach this. I was wondering why that wasn't done, because I know we have stuff. Let's remove these trees so I can place paths. I was going to do that last time, but I forgot. So that should pretty much immediately take care of that issue. And then they can place a decent amount of this before I blast everything out. And then I'll put in a path to connect here to here, which is going to help a lot. And should also make it possible for us to utilize more of this space effectively. All in due time. All in due time. Also, we're still waiting on this one to get built, which... Metal fasteners! It's our favorite song. What is this? Sunflower seeds. Okay. Well, I mean, we do need those. Can't really be upset about that. Okay, I see clay here. Do I have clay set to not import? I mean, clearly no, because we're getting it, but I do want to check and see. No, it's set to force import. Okay. This one needs to be prioritized. Needs to be deprioritized. Okay, those are all good to go. Yeah, alright. Man, I wish this could have been fixed. Or finished, rather, before this, but I guess the planks are just a little bit too important for everything else. So, B for boom, because this is something that we can actually do. Continue over here. Looks like this is all ready to go. So I can now put in, what are these, doubles? Yeah. I can put in a double here. And I hadn't put this in because I wanted to be able to, you know, get up over here and take the rest of this out. But I think it's going to be more important now for us to have this thing blasted out so we can plant more stuff and just move on with our lives. I am still keeping track of this, don't worry. Got a bad tide in one day. Got a little bit to do to prepare for it, but, you know, we'll get there when we get there. The issue with storage is still an issue. We do have another about 1,800 water we can store, which is not going to be enough to get us through an entire 9-day drought. We know this. Or bad tide, whatever it may be. But we have to have somewhere to put the giant buried tank, which probably should have been something I did today. We'll see. We'll see how far we can get. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, don't worry. But so I can go 4 down here, so that would not be a bad thing to make another giant hole. But it has to have support. It has to have somewhere to go. This is 3 deep here, but it doesn't have supports around the side, so that's not going to work. I mean, short of that, I guess my only real option is to surround it with these large industrial piles, which I've been told it's not going to work in Update 7, so maybe that's something we should, you know, take advantage of while we can. Yeah, I don't have any other solutions for this. I really don't. But what we can do is we can keep these guys pumping this entire time, which should help reduce the amount of, you know, stupidity that's going to be occurring with water. Now we have 0.3 days remaining. Let's take this out of triple speed. Do our final preparations, just so I don't forget. Lower that all the way down. Raise that all the way up. These guys are going to keep pumping, and that's going to be fine. And I do have to raise this floodgate dam. Now, because I paused these things, we're not using nearly as much power. And we're going to be generating power during the bad tide still, so that's fine. We just have to let it be what it's going to be and not get too caught up in it. So, triple speed. I guess I can probably raise the floodgate dam, and that is going to be that. Take a drink of water real quick. And there we go. We're going to be entering our bad tide here in cycle 46 and probably approaching the end of the episode. Having, you know, improved a few things. We do have 119 planks, which, you know, better than nothing. And it is a 6-day bad tide. I think we can feel pretty good about that. Everything that we've been able to prepare, we've prepared. These guys are going to continue building stuff, which, you know, maybe not advisable during a bad tide. But it's going to be fine, because all the sick beavers get automatically teleported over here anyhow. Thanks to the minimum of 100 contaminated beavers in the main Beaverburg district. So, yeah, I don't know what else we can really do without just waiting a long time, and that's usually the point at which I say, you know what, it's time for this episode to be done with, and we'll move on. So, these guys here are not drawing power because they only have bad water, which means now we are producing substantially more power than we're using, which means the gravity batteries can recharge, which means soon we can turn these guys back on. Except for the part where they don't have any drill bits. Stop me if you've heard this one before. But we do have 2 right here, which means as soon as these get turned back on, they can be resupplied, and we'll be in good shape. Plus, this primitive smelter is good to go, and this one will be built as soon as we have enough clay. And these guys are determined to go get sent to, you know, whatever happens in Beaver Jail stays in Beaver Jail. I'm gonna do them a solid and disconnect this path, which means this isn't reachable anymore, and I can save them the pain and suffering. So, because this is taking forever, I'm going to set this off. B for boom. That was extremely loud. And now we have all this extra space with which to plant grapes. Where's the grapes, you might say? Well, it's because we don't have enough grapes to actually store anywhere. You don't see that showing up. But we have space. So when you have space, plant grapes. And then also, you know, put the path in here for good measure. That will connect at some point in time, but now we'll have access to all this. More grapes coming in. We probably should have some more exotic seeds brought in, just so we have enough to make at least one more of these tree nurseries at any given time. That sounds like a problem for the next episode or later than that. So, we'll move on to where we need to move on. I don't think we need to have any more of these brambles up here. But remember, since we're bringing a path over here, we can connect this with another entrance to the tree nursery so that they're going to have... actually, no, they can plant this now. And this gatherer flag is not what pulls these up. What in the heck am I thinking? Ah, the Wood-Felling Planification Lodge. What a great name. I'm thinking right here I'm going to put a staircase that's going to help these guys get access to everything else. So let's reserve this space now. And if I had... Well, you know what? I guess we could super prioritize these two. Get us in there where it matters. So while we're waiting on them to do this, this is going to be where we end today's episode. I really appreciate you guys keeping up with this series, giving me some ideas, feedback, positive or constructive. Sometimes outright critical when it's required, but I do always appreciate your honesty and integrity with keeping me honest. That's how it works, or it's how it's supposed to work at least. So, of course, you know, beard boosters make it possible to do all this fun stuff. And I really appreciate all of their support, I say, as the grapes start to die. Well, that's fine. We'll fix that next episode. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It really is not possible to do this much Timberborn content without having the support of the people who subsidize the videos, subsidize the channel, make it so that the up and down YouTube algorithm, ad revenue, whatever stuff, it doesn't have to trickle down into, well, I guess I shouldn't make the videos I want to make because nobody's watching them. Like, well, no. We can have a good time, thanks to the stability of those folks providing that income, so I don't have to worry about things quite as much. But you already know. I'm going to say it every video, but I really, really do appreciate those folks, and I appreciate you too, even if you're not on that list. I'm very glad you're here, and I'm very glad you choose to spend some time with me each and every time we have one of these videos. But that's going to be it for this one. I'm going to set these dynamites off. And now this is going to be an opportunity for us to place a ladder right here in the corner. And in a slightly better time where we're not going to have all of the, you know, bad water through here, then obviously these grapes aren't going to be dying. But I think this is the furthest reach that's going to have on this. And once that ladder's in place, then the Wood-Felling Planification Lodge, unless I have made a terrible miscalculation, should have slightly more range to get into this area. And if not, then we'll just move it. That's always an option. I can relocate it, but... that's the next episode problem. Have a great rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Stay safe, have fun, and we will see you again soon for more beavers. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.